The ending of From Season 4 didn't just set up Season 5. It explained it. Not symbolically. Not vaguely. Literally. And almost everyone missed it. Because the biggest reveal in that finale wasn't the bones. It wasn't Fatima turning. It wasn't the talismans being destroyed. It was the tree. The moment Boyd and the others pulled the bottle tree from the ground, the entire system of this place changed. And if that's true, then Season 5 is not about escaping the town. It's about surviving what was trapped underneath it.
Think about that.
For 4 seasons, everyone believed the town itself was the prison. A trap. A nightmare designed to keep people inside. But what if that's backwards? What if the town was never the prison? What if the town was the lock? And the bottle tree was the key holding that lock shut? Because look at what happened the second it was removed. Light entered the underground chamber. The monsters panicked. The entities started moving faster. The talismans were immediately destroyed. That's not random. That's sequence. Cause and effect. And this changes everything. Because if the bottle tree was sealing something below, then Jade and Tabitha didn't save everyone. They opened something. And this is where it gets darker. The show has been warning us about this from the beginning. Not directly, but through patterns, cycles, repeating symbols. Look at Victor. Victor has always treated the trees like sacred objects. He never explained why. He just knew. He feared movement.
He feared change.
And most importantly, he feared digging. That's not trauma. That's knowledge. Hidden knowledge. Knowledge he doesn't fully understand, but carries anyway. And in Season 4's finale, Boyd says the most important line in the entire series. Victor was right. We never should have pulled that tree. That line isn't regret. It's confirmation. The show is telling you the action itself was catastrophic. Not because it failed. Because it worked. That's the difference. And that's not the real mystery. The real mystery is this. What exactly was the tree keeping buried? Because the show keeps pointing at one terrifying possibility. The children. Not the dead children. The original children. The sacrificed ones. Look at what the show is actually telling us. Every major supernatural event in From connects back to children. The voices. The drawings. The Ankui symbol. The visions. The Lake of Tears. Even Ethan's earliest dream. Everything. And the word Ankui itself means remember. That matters. Because memory in this world isn't just memory. It's access. Every time someone remembers something buried, the town reacts. Jade sees symbols. Tabitha sees children.
Julie walks through time.
Victor unlocks old truths. This is the detail everyone missed. Memory isn't helping them escape. Memory is reactivating the system. Like passwords. Like keys. And the bones? The bones are not remains. They're anchors. Think about it. Why bury them under the bottle tree?
Why protect them there?
Why connect them to light and darkness? Because bones hold identity. And identity holds power. If those bones belong to the first sacrificed children, then removing them may have restored their connection. Not freed them. Restored them. That's different. And terrifying. Because if those children were transformed into something else, something older, then Season May 5th be the return of their true form. Not monsters. Something worse. Something the monsters fear. And we already have proof. Look at Smiley. Look at how he reacted to Fatima. He didn't attack. He recognized. He called her mother. That line should have broken the internet. Because monsters don't use words like that without meaning. Mother means origin.
Creation. Bloodline.
Fatima wasn't becoming one of them. She was becoming something above them. And if that's true, then the hierarchy of evil in this town is much bigger than we thought. Monsters aren't the top. They never were. They're servants.
Guard dogs.
Keeping something deeper asleep.
But now?
That sleep is over. And if the monsters are only guards, then who are they guarding? This is where the entire mythology flips. Because for 4 seasons, the creatures outside the houses felt like the final threat. They smiled. They hunted. They played with fear. But look closer. They never acted like kings. They acted like workers. Following patterns. Following rules.
Coming only at night.
stopping at talismans, retreating at sunrise,
Bound.
controlled, limited. Real power doesn't live by rules. Real power creates them. And that's what Season 4's ending exposed. The monsters were part of the system, not the source of it. Look at the timing. The second the tree was pulled, the entity wearing Sophia's face started gathering the talismans. Not attacking. Not celebrating. Preparing.
Why?
Because it knew what was coming. That's huge. It wasn't reacting to the chaos. It was ahead of it. Like someone following a plan. And here's what changes everything. If the entity already knew the tree had to fall, then everything before this was manipulation. Every vision, every clue, every child leading Tabitha, every symbol guiding Jade. All of it, not to save them, to make them do the digging. That means the town didn't trap them. It used them. That's the central horror. They thought they were fighting the system, but they were feeding it. Look at Jade. Since Season 1, Jade has been obsessed with symbols. Why him? Why does the town keep choosing him? Because Jade doesn't just see patterns. He solves them. He decodes. He unlocks. He's the perfect tool. And Tabitha? She always sees the children. Always hears them. Always gets pulled deeper. That's not random either. She's emotionally vulnerable to them. The perfect emotional key. Logic and emotion. Jade and Tabitha. Two halves of one mechanism. One unlocks. One believes. Together, they pull the tree. And the cycle continues. But here's the darker part. This may have happened before. Look at what the entity tells Tabitha. This is the closest anyone has ever gotten. That line matters. Because it confirms cycles. Attempts.
Repeats.
And every cycle gets closer. That means the town is evolving.
Learning. Testing.
Like an experiment. And what if every generation was never trying to escape, but unknowingly building toward one final release? Look at Victor's mother, Miranda. She also saw the children. She also chased the truth. She also reached the bottle tree. And she died there. That's not coincidence. That's pattern. The same path. The same bait. But this time it worked. That's why Victor is terrified. Not because the town is repeating. Because it's progressing. And progression means the end is near. But whose end? That's the question. Because Boyd's journey now becomes the most important. Boyd has always represented resistance. The man who fights. The man who builds rules. The man who keeps hope alive. But the finale broke him. For the first time, Boyd admits they may have made it worse. That matters psychologically. Because Boyd's belief has always protected everyone. Not physically. Mentally. Hope is survival here. And once Boyd loses hope, the town wins. That's why the radio signal matters. Boyd walking into the tunnels isn't rescue. It's descent. A literal descent. Into truth. Into guilt. Into the heart of the machine. And this is where it gets darker. Because every major character is now positioned like pieces on a ritual board. Fatima transformed. Boyd descending. Tabitha carrying the bones. Jade holding the knowledge. Victor remembering. Ethan dreaming. Julie story-walking. That's not character placement. That's ritual structure. And look at Ethan. This is the detail everyone missed. Ethan has always been the witness. Not the hero. The witness. The one who sees stories. The one who understands patterns. The one connected to the lake of tears. And if this world runs on memory, then Ethan may be the only one who can remember the first cycle. Not through visions. Through inheritance. Because children in this town don't just survive. They carry. Victor carried it. Now Ethan does. And if that's true, then Season 5 isn't the story of ending the curse. It's the story of remembering how it started. Because to break the ritual, they first have to understand it. And understanding it may be worse than dying in it. And this is where the show's final truth starts taking shape. Not as a monster. Not as a curse. But as a ritual. Because if you strip away the fear, the blood, the visions, and the creatures, what's left? A repeating structure. Children sacrificed. Parents corrupted. One survivor left behind. A cycle restarting. Again and again. That's not chaos. That's design. And Season 4's ending finally shows us what the ritual needs. A mother. A witness.
A guide.
A sacrifice. Look at the board now. Tabitha is the mother. Ethan is the witness. Victor is the guide. Fatima is the sacrifice. And Julie is the key. Because Julie's story walking changes everything. For a long time, it felt like a strange ability. A side mystery. But it's bigger than that. Much bigger. Look at what the show is actually telling us. Julie doesn't just see the past. She enters it, touches it,
Feels it.
and most importantly, the entity knows. That's the terrifying part. When she story walks, the town reacts, almost like it sees her. That means time in this place isn't linear. It's layered, like rooms stacked on top of each other. And Julie can move between them. That's not power. That's access. This is the detail everyone missed. If the answers to the end are in the beginning, then Julie is the only person who can physically go there. Not metaphorically. Literally. Which means season May 5th finally show us the first sacrifice. The original deal. The first child. The moment this place was born. And here's the terrifying theory. What if the ritual was never completed?
Think about it.
What if one child escaped? One child survived. Not Victor. Before Victor. The first lone survivor. And that survivor became the thing controlling everything now. The man in yellow. That would explain everything. His obsession with cycles. His connection to the children. His hatred for memory. His need to keep the ritual alive. Because unfinished rituals rot. They decay. They become unstable. And that's what this town is. A broken machine trying to finish itself. That's why it keeps pulling people in. Not for food. Not for cruelty. For completion. And Fatima? She may be the replacement. Look back at Smiley calling her mother. That wasn't emotional. That was biological. Ritual bloodline. Meaning Fatima may now be carrying the same corruption the first mother carried. The same blood that created the monsters. The same blood needed to birth whatever comes next. And if she fully turns, she may become the new center of the cycle. Not a victim. An origin. And this is where it gets darker. Because Boyd may have to kill her. Think about the cruelty of that. Boyd has always been forced to make impossible choices. Abby. Ellis. Now Fatima. The show keeps breaking him through love. Because Boyd's real function in this story isn't leadership. It's judgment. He's the executioner of painful truth. And season May 5th forced the ultimate one. Kill Fatima, or let the ritual finish. But here's what changes everything. What if killing her is exactly what the ritual needs? That's the trap. That's always been the trap. Every action feeds it. Every choice moves it forward.
Fight. Run.
Remember.
Kill.
It all serves the machine. Unless someone breaks pattern. And there's only one person who knows how. Victor. Victor has survived longer than anyone. Not because he's lucky. Because he remembers. He remembers what others forget. That's why the Ankui children whisper remember. Because memory is resistance. Forgetting is submission. That's not symbolism. That's the rule. And now the bones are back. The anchors are active. The tree is gone. The seal is broken. The pieces are in place. And season 5 isn't about finding a way home. It's about stopping the final ritual before this place becomes permanent. Because if they fail, the town won't just trap people anymore. It will spread. That's why the boy in white said, "You're going to lose this time." Not because he believes in hope, because he knows what's coming. And he's afraid of it too. That changes him. That changes everything. Because if even the boy in white is scared, then whatever is waking up beneath that town is older than him. Older than the monsters. Older than the ritual itself. And the real nightmare? It may already be awake. So ask yourself this. If season 4 was the unlocking of the door, who or what is about to walk through it?